And welcome to a podcast show. My name's Dan Latter, and in this session, I want to talk about the Forged in 30 coaching program that we have coming up. It starts on the 1st of Feb, so by the time you hear this on the podcast, we're probably in the middle of February anyway. However, for those people who are watching now, because we're live streaming out on YouTube and Facebook and all of those kind of things, this program starts on the 1st of Feb. The next one will start in the 1st of March. The next one will start on the 1st of April. And this is a 30-day program to go out and get a real transformation for you, because what tends to happen is that most coaching programs, they all focus on tasks and activities and that kind of thing. And whilst that might have some place in helping you improve what you do, including additional knowledge and that kind of thing, what we've actually found is it's not that you need. You know, you need to go do the tasks. You know the knowledge that you already have. In fact, you already have everything that you need. What you haven't got is the accountability to go out and actually put all of that in place. And that's what the Forged in 30 actually does. And alongside that, it also goes through your identity, and you'll experience an identity shift. Because as we've just spoken about in a 3-day masterclass, which leads up to the Forged in 30, most people's standards are here. And in order for you to be successful and go up against your competitors, your standards have to be here. And what tends to happen is that everybody's standards average around the same. My standards used to be the same. Your standards used to be the same. And until you go through an identity shift, these standards will always just come back to the normal average. It just will. It goes at the average. When you go through an identity shift, however, this begins to change. And because this begins to change, your standards begin to change. And because your standards begin to change, the work and the tasks that you do, the quality of work that goes into those, that also changes. And over a long period of time, you get this separation, whereas everybody else is doing the same stuff, where they do 70% of the tasks, but never 100%. Like, imagine for a second that you had a person A and they did 70% of the tasks, and you had person B and they did 95% of the tasks. Over a month, just a month, do you think person B would get more done than person A? Absolutely. They've missed almost a third out of all the stuff they said they were going to do and committed to and thought was a good idea, and they didn't even do it. Whereas if you went through that process and actually did 25% more than those guys, then you're going to start getting these results. And imagine that over the next 6 months, next 12 months, the next 2 years. That separation gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And I remember Kobe Bryant, and we're coming up to about his death now. He died in 2020, if you remember, in a helicopter crash for a basketball player. But I remember one of the things that he was saying, because basketball was my sport, and one of the things he was saying was that he would get up early, 4 or 5. He would go to the gym and he would shoot around for an hour and do practice. He'd come home, he'd have some breakfast, and then he'd go back, maybe into the weights room or maybe a bit more basketball shooting practice. And then training practice, actual official training practice, would happen at 11. And then he'd go home and he'd rest a little bit and he'd eat. And then he'd have second practice at like 3 or 4 o'clock. And what he said was that over a long period of time, you're going to get this separation. And it's this separation that you absolutely need to be better than the next person. And you don't need massive amount of separation. You just need slightly better. Usain Bolt, he's the fastest person on the planet, or he was, by how much? 100th of a second, 200ths of a second, consistently. Just beating the next guy. And if you can do that in your business, you don't need these massive grandiose steps. You just need to be better than the next guy. And the problem is that when you start doing all these tasks and start doing all these things, you have all this stuff that's going on in your head, and that stuff is actually stopping you from being successful. All of that self-talk, oh, you're not good enough, and then you try and do something, and then you go, you see, I knew you wouldn't be able to do it, you're useless, all that self-talk, right? I remember in the office with David Brent Meister General, and he bangs his knee on the desk, and he's like, oh, and he starts swearing at it, and that's self-talk. That is self-talk, and we all do it by, oh, you're so useless, why does nothing ever work, right? We've all said these things out loud, and our unconscious mind is listening to these things, and our unconscious mind is the bit that controls us, and it's listening to you saying, oh, you're so useless, nothing ever works, I knew it wouldn't work, and it's going, oh my gosh, that must be true. So therefore it performs the tasks knowing that you're useless, that you're not very good. How about we flip that? We change that story entirely. We give you a new story. You give yourself a new story. Who are you? You want to be this strong, powerful person who's the most capable person that you know. When you start changing the language that you're talking to yourself with, you turn up differently. It's a whole different you. When I come off a training course, we were in Bali at Billionaire Bootcamp, which I was very lucky to have a 90-minute speaking slot at, something I'd dreamed about for 17 years, and we actually got that. But when I got back from that, goodness me, I saw the world completely differently. The way I walked was different. My confidence was much, much higher. I got a standing ovation, by the way, for that 90-minute talk, which was just mind-blowingly good. Amazing, right? But you just change the way that you go through life because you've changed this. Nothing else matters. Not the way that you do the tasks, not the actual task, not knowing 5 ways of running Facebook ads as opposed to only having 3 ways of running Facebook ads. None of that makes any difference. The thing that makes a difference is this inside. It's you. And if you just do what you always do, you'll always get what you've always got. And so you've got to go through this 30-day program and get this transformation, because what happens is that momentum, it fades after you get clarity. So what happens is you learn something, you think, oh, brilliant, okay, I'm going to do this. And then you get some momentum for like a day or two. And then what happens? You're like, oh, no. And then you're going back to the average again. You'll always go back to the average. And until you change this, you will always go back to the average. You change this, the average is different for you. Because now you've got a new version of you showing up and doing all these tasks, which is different than the old version of you. That's where you're going to get the difference here. And the difference really in the success is knowing what to do on a consistent basis and having the accountability. And then the second part of that is also having a community of people who are all on the same journey, all wanting the same results, or whatever those results are. More money, better body, better relationships, happier, healthier, all that stuff, right? That's basically what everybody wants. There's only 6 things. More faith in God, if that's your thing, a better body, a better relationship, more money, happiness, a better relationship with your kids. Like, what else is there? Do you know what I mean? There's only 5 or 6 different things. So getting this in place in a community where everybody is on your side and supportive. And when you go in one of the coaching calls, because we do group coaching on a Friday night, and that's where we review the week. And if you had anything that comes up, especially psychological stuff that's come up, like we'll help you go through that and fix that for you in a supportive community. And then you're sat there listening to the other people going through, you know, I had a problem with this person and this, and then they get advice, maybe from me, maybe from the rest of the group. And then they can take the best piece of advice that fits in for them, and then off they go. It's so incredibly powerful building this community of people. And obviously, as we get older, both men and women, we move more into a loneliness. You know, we lose friends as we get older. We end up with 1 or 2 or 3 decent friends, and that's it. We lose our sense of community. And I think it's so important to get that back. And then what happens is that now you're starting to build some discipline every single day. We have our 30-day planners. These are mine. We fill them in every single day. And this 30-day planner will keep you on track. You write your goals at the top, your top 3 goals for the 30 days. They're written every single day. And when you're looking at what shall I be doing today? I don't know. I don't know what to do. You just look at your goals and go, well, what's going to move me closer to that goal? Let's say it's a health goal. Maybe I need to go to the shops and just prep some food. Is that going to move you closer? Is it a bit of a pain having to go to the shop to do that? Yeah, but it needs to be done. Otherwise, you just keep putting it off, and then you get really hungry, and then you just eat the big fat pizza that's in the freezer, right? So this prep work is so important, because this is discipline, and discipline will fail without the right level of structure that you need. 30 days is the right time frame for change, because we've got 12 months in a year. And if I can get you to focus just for one of those months and you crush that month, guess what happens the next month? You can focus just on the next month and you can crush that month, and the following month, and the following month, and the following month. And we call that the Legends Academy. And you can have access to the Legends Academy once you've gone through Forged in 30, because we want to immerse you in our environment and into our way of thinking before we put you in the Legends Academy. But you've got to go through the Forged in 30 first. And then we've got two big areas that we really focus on. One is business and income, and the second is health and well-being. So, and health and energy, I should really say. Your energy has to be there. I mean, yesterday, I started at 8 a.m. and I finished at 10 p.m. That's a 14-hour day. I did 2 CrossFit sessions in that time period as well. We did live streams, we had client calls, we had meetings, we had video editing. And absolutely ram-packed. Now, if my energy wasn't good, there was no way that I would have the stamina to get through that. And do you think that if you have stamina to go through stuff like that you will get more work done? Absolutely. It's a given. And so you've got to have that in place. You've got to work on your energy. You've got to work on working out. You've got to work on eating the right foods, even down to getting blood tests and seeing what that is and asking ChatGPT what supplements you should be on. Like, my supplementation right now is on point. Like, I was comparing my bloods with Brian Johnson's bloods from Netflix. And some of my markers are elite level, which is amazing. I'm 53 and still getting these elite markers, which is truly awesome. That health will help you translate into better business. And of course, doing the right stuff in business is useful as well. And then we have some non-negotiables, and this is for you to work out what are those non-negotiables. So we have a whole bunch of content within the Forged in 30, which will go through all of this. It's drip fed. You get 1 week of content every single week for 4 weeks, and then you get the Friday night. We call them weekly reviews, and it's full of Q&A. And if you want me to drill down into things, then we'll do that as well. Absolutely amazing program. I don't think there's anything like it in the UK. Certainly nothing like this that I've created before. And I think it's very exciting. You should come and join. If you've got any questions, you can come and hit me up. Come and find our website, book a call, and you can book a 15-minute strategy session. Other than that, go sign up. And you should book a strategy session, by the way, and come and speak to me one-to-one and see what that's like. If you've got any questions, let me know. In the meantime, have a great day, and we'll speak to you.